There's a great bit in Mock the Week where the prompt is lines you wouldn't hear in a war film. And Hugh Dennis walks up to the mic and he says, "Why are we speaking in English?" When Stephen Pressfield was talking about the dialogue he wanted to create in his latest ancient Roman novel, he said he was aiming for archaic yet accessible. He wanted his story to have some historical accuracy and some authenticity, and yet he was also conscious that the modern reader is not a Latin scholar. The modern reader needs a bit of English. So he wanted to strike that balance between archaic yet accessible. Which leads me on to the topic of this video and my hypothesis. I hypothesize that everyone's favourite film is in a language that they speak and it has a plot that they understand. I posit that if the material soars over your head, you're unlikely to love it, you're more likely to be confused and probably hate it. I think that storytellers know this and they take measures to ensure that the audience understands. For example, TV shows often have a little recap that comes in the form of previously on Friends. If there's been a big long gap between episodes, the end of series 1 and the start of series 2, it might have been a year since the audience last was acquainted with these characters. They need a little memory jogger, to understand why this person is talking this way to this person. What's going on here? It'll help their understanding and their enjoyment. Screenwriters do something similar as well. They often include and write a character who's slow on the uptake. So that forces them to ask the question to the other characters, what's going on, which perfectly tees up an explanation for the benefit of the audience. One movie that doubles down and excels at this tactic is The Big Short. Now, The Big Short is a film all about the financial crash of 2007 and 2008. Now, to tell the story with historical accuracy, they had to use a lot of complicated financial concepts, a lot of non-intuitive industrial terms, and there's a big risk that they would lose the audience. So in order to combat that, the movie is littered with asides. Ryan Gosling regularly breaks the fourth wall. There are celebrity cameos like Margot Robbie, Anthony Bourdain, and Selena Gomez, where all they do is come in just for a few minutes just to explain into simple terms the financial jargon that the characters are using. We can contrast The Big Short with a movie that makes minimal, if any, attempts to make sure the audience understands what's going on. Christopher Nolan's Tenant. I've seen the movie 3 times. I still couldn't tell you what happened. I think the good guys won, but I can't be entirely sure. Those were all the levels I got. That's all I got from the film. I imagine there were a lot more layers to it. I imagine there was a lot more intricacies to the plot, but because I didn't understand them, none of them hit me. Right? So, and I think it suffers. Because then, when it comes to the best form of marketing, the first form of marketing, word of mouth, would I recommend Tenant? No, I wouldn't. Unless you're looking to be confused for 2 or 3 hours, then by all means, watch Tenant. Now, a case could be made that, it wasn't for me, that, it was for someone who could comprehend a lot more sophisticated concepts and, odd plots and intricate details. But I didn't get it, and everyone I talked to didn't get it either. So in that sense, I felt like it wasn't just me. In that sense, I feel like Chris Nolan missed the mark with the understanding, and I think it suffers through it because people like to talk about movies, and people like to talk about stories, and if it's too complicated, say for example, I say Tenet is my favorite movie, all it takes is one person to say, "Oh, I saw that too. I hadn't a clue what was going on. Can you explain what happened to me?" And now my knowledge is going to be tested. And now I'm on the brink of looking stupid in front of others because I don't fully know what went on. So I think people will not say that their favorite movie is, or say that they liked a movie unless they understand it, because they'll quickly be tested on it. Now, the question inevitably comes up that how simple does it have to be? And I think you can answer that question with another question in who's it for? If you're at Disney and you're targeting children, then you need a simple enough plot, a simple enough story that a 4-year-old can understand it. If you're Quentin Tarantino and you make movies for adults, then you can add in a bit more complexity. So the question really is, who is it for? After that, you can decide how complicated it is. If it's for Latin scholars, you could do the whole thing in Latin. If it's for nuclear scientists, you can fill it with jargon. But an important question is, who is it for, and can they understand it? Because I think in order to love something, in order to love a story, in order to go around and market it and sell it to everyone else, to rave about it, you first have to understand it first. That's my hypothesis. I hope this helps. I'm Thomas. Have a nice day.